Here we go, Bobby. Mitchie, be okay today, please. There's one guy's twitched up.
Time to kick it off between Miami and Pitt here at Heinz Field. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewart, Allison Williams. Miami looking for an undefeated regular season for the first time since 2002. And Pitt, they have been here in this spot before, and they have upset highly ranked teams before. Last year they did it to Clemson, couldn't derail their playoff hopes. And Mark Richt is hoping that he will avoid that landmine today and head into the ACC championship game with an undefeated regular season. Pat Narduzzi, last week his team was at the goal line with 4 cracks at it on the road, and they couldn't get it done. Here comes the Miami defense.
Turn over chain, turn over chain, turn over chain, turn over chain.
It's taken over college football. The turnover chain has become a life unto itself.
Every season in college football takes on a life of its own, even with every program. And that has been the identifier, been a tale of 2 different halves. They've come to life. 19 takeaways the last 5 games.
And a true freshman quarterback for Pitt, Kenny Pickett, on a rollout. He'll tuck it under and run and pick up good yardage, close to a first down, a gain of 9 on the first play of the game. Shaq Quarterman made the stop, and 15 different players for Miami, including Travis Homer, an offensive player on special teams, at some point this year have worn the chain.
They just feed off of it, and it's become a trend here in the second half of this season. And it's embodied really by, I think, the overall team speed, the tenacity, and the want-to from this team in all 3 phases of the game. What you see right away from Pickett and why he gets his first start of his career is the conviction. He goes for it, and he's going to let it rip today, even making his first start against the #2 team in the country.
Play clock winding down, and he gets some help from Darren Hall, and Hall is stacked up at the line as Chad Thomas was there first. So 3rd down and short. And when you are getting your first ever start as a true freshman against the #2 team in America, you would think the pressure would be there for Kenny Pickett. Do you sense that with how he plays?
Well, we'll get a feel a little bit early, but the biggest thing is to breathe. Right, you visualize, you put yourself in this moment. He was an early enrollee, and there is no doubt that he has earned this opportunity over the course of the season. Injuries elsewhere, and he's got to capture it.
Right at the heart of the Miami defense, the run game picks up a first down. Darren Hall moves the chains.
One thing of note here, and Pitt mixes and varies their tempo a little bit. And we have seen this as we've covered these games down the stretch with teams near the top as heavy favorites, and the underdogs often will try to slow the game down, minimize the possessions, take as much of this time in shortening this game. And a defensive-minded head coach like Pat Narduzzi, I like this philosophy out the gate.
Run pass option, not much there. Quarterman brings down Pickett for no gain.
Yeah, the team speed laterally is going to be a bit of a challenge for Pitt today. And you're right, that's a run pass option. Could have dumped it in the flat. The shovel got caught up in the wash in the middle of that defensive line amongst those monsters. And this team is here. We saw Pitt 5 weeks ago against Syracuse, and they're here standing #2 in the country because of what they've got up front. R.J. McIntosh and Kendrick Norton and Chad Thomas and Joe Jackson and those big fellas at that front 4 setting the table for all the rest of the guys to feast.
Pickett over the middle. The ball comes out. Is that ruled a fumble? Is the chain going to come out of the box? Both teams say they've got the football, and the officials say it is a completed pass, it seems, and a fumble, because they're untangling the pile to see who's got it. And it is 3rd down. You know, Pat Narduzzi told us yesterday, contain the chain. That's our message for our team. It almost came out on the first offensive possession.
Sure looks to me like that ball is moving an awful lot. It is bobbling, but you see why they create those 27 takeaways. There's 3 Miami defenders, and on a rare occasion they don't come up with it. Instead, it's Araujo Lopes, the slot receiver, that dives in there and saves the day for Pitt.
3rd down and 5. Play clock down to 2. Pickett up the seam, high throw, and incomplete, intended for Jester Weah.
And that's a miss. And that's a miss he didn't have at walkthrough yesterday or the day before. As Narduzzi said, this kid has been nails. He is a rhythm and confidence thrower. That is a little skinny post against a single safety. That's in fact the exact same play on 4th and 4 that he hit the 75-yarder a week ago. That one just high and behind. You asked me about a little nerves. That may be represented by that throw.
Ryan Winslow, 5th-year senior punter, on the Ray Guy watch list, gets it away. And it's a good kick. Braxton Berrios from his own 10 with a flag down. Spins out across the 15. We'll have to check the marker. .47-yard punt and an 8-yard return, but the penalty marker may have a lot to say about where Miami begins on their first offensive possession.
During the kick, holding on the return team, 10 yards or half the distance from the end of the kick, 1st down.
So the U will start inside their own 10-yard line when we come back. Amazing to think about it, but by the time we get through the night tomorrow night, the college football regular season is over, because we've gotten to the big rivalry games at the end of the season. Who might be in more trouble tomorrow night if one were to lose, Oklahoma or Clemson?
Yeah, I think that's Clemson going on the road. West Virginia without their starting quarterback going to Norman. That will be an uphill challenge.
An uphill challenge for Miami to start just across their own 5-yard line. First possession of the game. A little zone read, and Rozier hands it off to Travis Homer, and he gets about 4 yards out to the 10-yard line. So Malik Rozier, 11-0 as a starter. Started once for an injured Brad Kaya back in 2015, and he's 10-0 this season.
You know, he reminds me of Trace McSorley from Penn State a year ago, and you saw what he did all the way, taking the Nittany Lions all the way to the Rose Bowl. He's just a winner. He just has that it factor. It doesn't matter what it takes. It's not always going to be the most fundamental and the prettiest, but he has just got a tremendous amount of resolve, and his offense feeds off of it.
Right about at the 1st down marker, driven back is Christopher Herndon, a yard shy, and it brings up a 3rd down. Jordan Whitehead, who might be the best player on this Pitt defense, stepped up to make the stop.
In a 3rd down area where Miami has really struggled this season, surprisingly so, with some of the strength that they've got, the power of Homer, the run-pass options, but oftentimes not near enough push at the point of attack with the offensive line.
They'll try and run for it with Homer. And it looks like he's got it by about a half a yard.
It was a good thing it was only a yard to gain. If that was 2 or 3, he doesn't get home. And you see some of the challenges right there. Casey McDermott, the left tackle, is thrown out of the way. Homer's pad level and that continued effort moves the chains. But this is what Pitt wants to do. Pitt's going to give a little bit. They're going to bend a little bit in the early downs. And they want to get into some of those 3rd down situations and see if Miami can be better in that down and distance than they've been this season.
Rozier to throw. On the slant, bobbled. And a chance at an interception for Phil Campbell, as Amon Richards had it go through his hands. Campbell was lurking, and that ball almost bounced right to him.
And there's a lot of congestion to that short side of the field. Look at it. There's multiple Pitt defenders to the field, and I think that's going to be the reminder today. To the field was a wide open Braxton Berrios. You're thrown into some trouble. Phil Campbell making his first start as a redshirt freshman. An opportunity to make a big play for Pitt. They're going to need those takeaways. But trust me, over the course of this game, that throw is going to go the other way to Berrios to the wide side of the field.
5 wide on 2nd down and 10. 4-man rush. Rozier under pressure. Down he goes at the 10-yard line. Dwayne Hendricks, his 3rd sack of the season.
This is a really nice stunt. You're going to see Miami employ this same amount of defense and effort with their group up front. This is just a beautifully timed tackle and stunt here from Pitt. And this is not something they've been very good at this year. In fact, that's just Hendrick's 3rd sack of the season. 7.5 as an entire defensive line, but you can't run it more effectively and efficiently than they just did.
3rd down and long. And it looks like Pitt may bring pressure. Long throw up the seam, just off the fingertips of Jeff Thomas. That was a nice throw from Malik Rozier, but it turns into a Miami punt from deep in their own end.
Yeah, that throw just led him away, Bob. If that throw is to his inside, again, this is going to be a little bit of a feel for Rozier. It's an awfully big moment for him as well, out on the road. I think a couple of decisions there. If thrown into a tight window, that time you've got to lead your receiver to the entire field, and Thomas is going to keep running.
Quadri Henderson, one of the most lethal return men in the history of the ACC. Will he get a chance here? Calling for a fair catch in plus territory. Great field position for Pitt when we come back after only a 35-yard punt by Zach Fiegels.
Yeah, it's a wonderful day, and with their parents and their family here, it's really special. But we are all family because we are the Pitt Panther family. And that's it.
It's a pretty good one.
You just start going through some of the names that used to play, even running back alone at Pitt. Curtis Martin you saw, but Ironhead Hayward, James Conner is recently. It's a great story, recovering from cancer and ending up as a Steeler. Darren Hall lines up next to Pickett, and Pickett will take off and spins for a 1st down. And you really can't overemphasize this early in the game how important this possession is to Pitt, starting in Miami territory at the plus 45 and going with tempo.
Look at the mix.
Play action. Pickett, he's going for it all to the end zone. Knocked away.
Bob, Miami defensive coordinator Manny Diaz told us he doesn't want to be about the takeaways, but about the things that create the takeaways. So that's why he was just reminding his team when they were on the sideline. Look, we got the ball out, we got it on the ground, but we have to be the first on the ground to come up with the turnover. And we always talk about that psychological impact of the turnover chain. He just told his guys, we created one fumble, now it's in their head.
Sheldrick Redwine almost had a chance at an interception on that deep ball for Jester Weah. Now it's 2nd down and 10. And off to Darren Hall. Tripped up. Picked up close to 4. Brings up a 3rd down.
And you go forward, this is 4-down territory. When you're a 4-7 team, you can be the aggressor. You have nothing to lose today. Miami does on the other side. But in order to make that 4th down or even get to that decision, you cannot go backwards on this play.
Darren Hall had run for 100 or more yards 3 games in a row until he ran for only 4 yards last week on 15 carries against Virginia Tech. So they want to get that running game cranked back up today against Miami. 3rd and 6. And here is Hall trying to get to the edge. No chance. The speed of the Miami defense side to side. R.J. McIntosh and Chad Thomas stretch the play out, and now Brock 4th and 4 inside the 30-yard line, and it looks like it'll be a field goal attempt.
We saw this earlier on the lateral plays with the overall team speed of Miami, and as fast and furious as they play, both from the secondary and the second level. And how about the big man there, the 3 technique? That's McIntosh getting home on the sidelines.
Do you like field goal here, or would you have thought about, as you said, a 4-7 team going for it?
I sure thought about going for it, but you got to nail this.
And doing exactly that is Alex Kessman. Knocks it through. Pitt has the lead from 46 yards out. Early lead, 3-0 over Miami. Allstate is proud to be a part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewart, Allison Williams at Heinz Field. Jeff Thomas inside the 5. Stumbles and gets cut down at the 20-yard line. Well, in 8 days, ABC will have the Dr. Pepper ACC Championship between these Miami Hurricanes and the Clemson Tigers. A spot in the college football playoff could be on the line a week from tomorrow night at 8 Eastern on ABC, as well as live on the ESPN app. Can Kelly Bryant get it done? Will Malik Rozier finish an undefeated season?
Pretty good starts to both of their careers. I'll tell you this, I don't have any fear today of Miami looking past this game and getting to that one. Just don't see it happening. As many closely contested ball games as they've had this season, as much grit as they've shown, I don't think that's going to be the issue here for 4 quarters.
Travis Homer tries to turn the corner. Check that keeping it is Rozier. Good fake. And he took about 4 yards out to the 24-yard line. Avonte Maddox stayed home and made the stop.
I don't think he minds that contact. He strikes me as the kind of quarterback that doesn't mind getting hit to get himself going. That opening series, I thought he could have thrown it a much easier throw in the flat instead of a tight little slant route. That seam route at the end, plenty of field to throw it and let Jeff Thomas run. Not a bad idea to get a little contact, get your juices flowing.
Play action. Check down to the near side left. Dale Harris looks to be good enough for a first down, and it is by a yard.
And that is the throw. And there's going to be a dozen or 2 dozen of them. In fact, Brad Kaya in a matchup a year ago against this Pitt defense in the same scheme, 355 yards, and a ton of them were up here, up to the field where there is more space, where there is more voids in that zone defense. Pitt loves to play man-to-man here, and they'll run that defender out, and you can see the void. Got to take advantage of it.
Rozier looking up the middle, and now he'll take off and run. Tripped up at the 34. A gain of 3. Good tackle by Elijah Zeiss.
And I'll go back to that matchup just one more time because there's a whole new cast of characters. You see the big right guard Donaldson coming off the field. But this matchup a year ago was the worst tackling performance for Pat Narduzzi and his Pitt Panthers. They could not tackle Miami in any phase of it. Run, pass, much more secure here through the first half of the first quarter.
5-man front. Communication for that offensive line of Miami. And they'll run to the backside to Travis Homer. And he picks up 3 more. It's another 3rd down, 3rd and 4. Vaughn Donaldson back in now at right guard. Pitt shows blitz on 3rd down. Trying to get to the edge is Homer. Brought down short. Zeiss again. And here comes the Miami punt group.
And there was that 3rd and short. That was just outside of the 1 to 3 where they're the worst in college football. But even a 3rd and 4 right there, as much as the turnover chain and the takeaway has been phenomenal for what they've done defensively, that is the one area for this offense that they have got to overcome. They have got to be more efficient. To close out this season in that 3rd down, could not get it done.
Another high short kick from Fiegels. Quadri Henderson with a fair catch at his own 22. Only a 39-yard punt. Hit ball when we come back. The Canes, number 2 in America, but they are no stranger to games where they are a double-digit favorite and ending up providing a lot more drama than you ever would have expected. Last-second touchdown against Florida State. Last-second field goal against Georgia Tech. 1-possession game against Syracuse. Down by 2 touchdowns twice last week to Virginia and found a way to come from behind and win. true freshman Kenny Pickett on a rollout. Easy pitch and catch to Quadri Olison in the right flat, and he picks up 8.
Well, I sure like this plan early from offensive coordinator Sean Watson. He's in year 1 here at Pitt, but he's an experienced guy, and he's come in, and if this looks familiar last year to what they were doing with Matt Canada or what Matt Canada is doing at LSU, it should. He kept a lot of the elements of the system. And I love how they're mixing the inside run with the movement, the quarterback run. When you're playing an opponent as talented as Miami is defensively, you have got to give them a lot of pictures to look at.
Aaron Hall, short of the first down. 3rd down and short now for Pitt. Helping out on the stop again was Joe Jackson.
What were you? You were methodical in that opening series. You huddled up, you got to your best plays. Your second series, you mixed the tempo. Here, I think you're doing all you can right here to run this thing down to the end of the first quarter, and you can do so if you get this first down. Shorten the game, minimize the possessions against the heavyweight.
Extra effort, looks like it has the first down for Hall. Chad Thomas just couldn't quite hold the point of attack and fell backwards. It's a gain of 2 and a Pitt first down.
BYOB. Be your own blocker sometimes. And that is exactly what Darren does right there. And he shows you why he had multiple 100-yard games. It was really a Virginia Tech crew last year that just stopped that point of attack. 2 D tackles and didn't even allow him to get that head of steam to run through people as he does through the arms of Chad Thomas.
Zone read and a shovel pass. Olison picks up 4. Quickly back to Kevin Nagandi. Wow, 1-10 Baylor, giving TCU all they can handle. And here, towards the end of the first quarter, Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams in Pittsburgh. Pitt, they've got the early 3-0 lead. 2nd down and 6, jet sweep. Quadri Henderson powers his way for a first down to the 45.
And if you're going to get on that perimeter, and that's really the first run out there to the outside of the tackle box with some success, you've got to get blockers. And look at the eyes up. An excellent block there by Olison, the most unselfish guy on this team. Former all-conference running back. Really converted into an H-back, a fullback, and he's able to cut down there Jaquan Johnson and allow his little guy, Henderson, to do what he does best.
A reverse. Quadri Henderson, blockers out in front. That's another Pitt first down to the Miami 37 before he's run out by Jaquan Johnson. 18 more.
Sure doesn't feel like a plan that you put together for a true freshman making his first start now, does it? Inside run, outside run, QB play action pass, shots down the field. Slot run, double reverse. I mean, they are throwing the whole book at Miami, and that is exactly what Pat Narduzzi wanted to see in the opening frame.
And to your point, Brock, shorten the game. Would you run a play here? You can end the first quarter right now. No reason to run a play, but they will snap it, and they will swing a pass out to the left flat. Jester Weah will end the quarter with a 7-yard gain. 1 quarter in the books here at Heinz Fields, and Manny Diaz's Miami defense on their heels a bit. 3-0 Pitt. We'll be back in a moment after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to ABC Saturday Afternoon College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams set for the start of the second quarter. Pitt is driving with a 3-0 lead. 2nd down and medium at the 31 of Miami. Fumbled snap. It's loose on the ground. Is the chain going to come out? Miami's got it. Michael Pinckney's heading to the sideline to put the turnover chain on. Exactly what Miami needed. Their 20th takeaway in their last 5.5 games.
This is just a snap high and away, and you can see he's trying to set up for the little play action. That snap comes hot for Morrissey, the redshirt freshman center. Pickett can't corral it, and there's the effort. What Allison was pointing to, Manny Diaz reminding of his team, if the ball is on the ground, you don't assume anything. You are relentless for it. And Pinckney gets the hardware.
Play action for Rozier. Shot down the sideline, underthrown and incomplete. Intended for Amon Richards. Avonte Maddox, who is as courageously as you possibly can be, fighting his way through a dislocated elbow to play, but must be fun to put that 5 pounds of Cuban link on. And Pinckney becomes the latest to wear the chain. 2nd down and 10. Up the middle and trying to fight his way across the 50-yard line is the true freshman, DJ Dallas. He's driven back. It'll be 3rd down and long.
That's pretty good pursuit from the Pitt side defensively, saying, hey, we can play a little bit of team defense too. It's not just those Canes on the other side. And here we go again, another 3rd down. You take that shot on 1st down. That is Mark Richt's MO. After a momentous play, he is going to take his shot down the field. Very little run. And now sets up the opportunity for Pitt and Narduzzi if he wants to bring the heat, which he's trying to show here pre-snap.
First play across the 50-yard line offensively for Miami. Four-man rush. Slant. Broken up. Intended for Berrios. Elijah Zeiss was there. Miami gets the takeaway, but then Pitt gets the stop.
That's a big stop now from Pitt defensively.
Good kick this time from Fiegels. Lands inside the 5 and takes a hit bounce into the end zone. It will come out to the 20-yard line. 48-yard punt, but only a 28-yard net. In field position. And once Joel Rodriguez knows that that turnover chain has been earned by someone, he's got helpers back there to go and find it as quickly as possible.
I mean, is there anything more identifiable this year in college football? I mean, as you look at this season of college football, and there have been some enormous moments, as there always is every year, but the link back to the past, why it is just so many headlines throughout this season.
Darren Hall right into the teeth of that defensive front, but look at the push. Getting help from his friends out to the 25. As you said, this has become something that's kind of taken on a life of its own. 6 games, 20 takeaways. The turnover chain, not only the brainchild of Manny Diaz, 16, now 17 players have had an opportunity to wear it. But very soon, a local brewery down in South Florida will be releasing a turnover chain IPA. A sushi restaurant's making a turnover chain sushi roll. They are feasting on those takeaways. Here's Pickett on a rollout. Across his body. Low throw. Incomplete. Good coverage from D. Delaney on the tight end, Chris Clark. And now it's 3rd down and 5 for Pitt.
I think I've seen now both quarterbacks here that are feeling this moment just a little bit. Even Malik on that last drive, that go route to Amon Richards, that's one that he's put a little bit more air on. And he knows over the course of the game he's going to have to hit some of these shots. And you've seen some good from Pickett. Some really decisive moves, and then a couple throws here, including that one. If you're in between, man, just run the ball.
Pickett out of the pocket. He's got a 1st down hookup. Rafael Araujo Lopes to the 41. A gain of 16.
And then you flush the bad play. And you come right out here. Initial read isn't there. You're going to break the pocket and containment. You've already shown that threat to run. So you see the linebackers coming up. And that time Chad Thomas in pursuit. And he throws a dart. And really when Max Brown got hurt midway through this season, that is when I think everybody on this Pitt team and staff knew that, okay, we've got to get Pickett ready to go. The true freshman throughout the spring, the summer, into the fall showed that he was not going to be overwhelmed by this moment.
Jet sweep. Waiting for it was Sheldrick Redwine. And he brings down Quadri Henderson. That's a terrific tackle, a gain of only 1. And that was pure one-on-one in the open field against a very elusive, speedy receiver. Quadri Henderson ran for 100 or more yards a couple of times last season.
Redwine had the big play coming out of right field into center field to knock the touchdown away earlier. Very active is this secondary for Miami.
Swing pass to Henderson. Leaps over a tackler. Close to a first down. Right at the line to gain. Let's see where they put the football down. First down without measurement.
Just stands out, doesn't it? Whether it was Darren Hall running through a tackle, whether it is Henderson here with an excellent block from his buddy out front. Right, just falling forward, breaking tackles. And that was Aaron Matthews there with the block outside on the corner. In basketball, they talk about those hustle plays all the time as we started college basketball season. I love listening to Dan Dockich and Billis, and you see by the effort and the want to and who's making the hustle plays. And right now it's all Pitt in the first half.
Run pass option that is dropped by Maurice French.
And you're not going to execute beautifully in the half court. It's not going to happen. Not against the size and the length and the team speed that Miami throws at you. And when you're a freshman quarterback, it's going to be a little more about grit. You know, when you're Darren Hall there, you're going to have to be your own blocker sometimes to run through these tacklers. You're going to have to play with more effort. And on the other side, and I know Manny Diaz, I'm sure, is going to tell his guys throughout, hey, you have got to match their energy level. We're not at home playing in front of 68,000 where the stadium's been rocking 6 of the last 7 weeks. You have got to create that energy.
Pickett well protected. Long throw into double coverage. Incomplete. Looking for Wheel. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
And it seems like it's the Pitt defense that's really bringing the energy on the sideline. I mean, every time they've come off the field, guys are yelling and jumping around, and offensive guys have come over and high-fived them. And I'll tell you, I heard a couple guys reminding them, hey, this is the last game. We got to leave it all out on the field.
Alex Buchser, the right guard, being walked off the field. But how about the job the Pitt defense just did? They had every reason to come over to the sideline feeling great about themselves. Miami gets what so often this season has been the momentum-changing takeaway. Pitt goes out there, 3 and out, and now their offense is back in plus territory.
They're building on what they did last week down in Blacksburg. And they play good defense. They play good enough to win that game defensively, and they were a yard away from getting it done to finish it off. And that was their most complete defensive effort of the year, and you see them bringing some of their own confidence into this matchup.
And you can sense around the program they think they have a future at quarterback with Pickett. Here comes the blitz. He steps up, fires a bullet that's dropped by French. A missed opportunity on 3rd down for Maurice French.
And this is so good. You're going to feel all this pressure coming here, and as a young quarterback, you've got to climb up in the pocket, and that is exactly what Pickett does, and he doesn't flush. He never loses sight down the field. Those are the intangibles they love about him, and he can't throw it any better to French. Maurice has got to find a way to finish that one.
Intentional end-over-end punt from Ryan Winslow. Berrios lets it bounce behind him into the end zone. Out to the 20-yard line for Miami. 3-0 Pitt, early 2nd quarter.
The Jaguar.
Who was the last FBS head coach to lead his undergraduate alma mater to a national championship? It's a good one. And we'll have the answer coming up. Does Miami now have an answer offensively starting from their own 20-yard line? On a keeper, it's Rozier. Breaks a tackle. Gets outside. Strong run by the quarterback for a first down. Eventually tracked down by Whitehead.
And that's what he is. He is strong. He's strong of mind. I think he's strong of spirit, and his team feeds off of it, and then obviously on the field. And these were the tackles that Pitt did not miss in the first half. That's Mike Herndon, the converted offensive lineman that's in the backfield, and Rozier runs right through that tackle.
He looked like a converted offensive lineman trying to make that tackle. Screen. Dale Harris down the sideline. Looks like he stepped out short of the first down. He picked up 8.
That's number 80 on the reception, Dale Harris.
That's not good enough as you see Herndon spike the hand warmer.
Normally,
well, those offensive linemen are taught what, man? You got to grab for cloth and whatever and hold on for dear life, but you got to do a little bit more there for Herndon.
You're not bringing down Malik Rozier by the fanny pack. Rozier, quick swing pass, caught by Berrios. Breaks a tackle, he's got a first down. And Brock, how much of this game becomes a test of patience on both sides?
I said to Mark Richt on the field pregame, how many bubbles are you going to throw today? Because Brad Kaya, that's a little bubble route, right? Everybody's accustomed to these in college football. He said, well, that really depends on the quarterback. How many times does he want to keep taking that? He didn't do it in the opening drive. He's done it now twice, and this is a patient group. They've been patient all season, and they will get to it as they are here on this possession.
Quarterback draw. Lost a yard. Rashad Weaver came through and brought down Malik Rozier. Well, as you talked about, Brad Kaya, he took that last year in this matchup over and over and over again, correct?
Yes, he did. 8 of those. There were about 8 other little flat routes or out routes, and then they hit their shots down the field. And Malik has had 2. He had one to Jeff Thomas on the early seam route that if he puts out in front of him over his left shoulder, he's going to score. And then the one shot down the field, you will see more of all 3 of those components this afternoon.
Well, now it's second down and long. Quick out. Caught by Amon Richards. A couple of yards short of the first down, maybe a yard short. Looks like he's out at the Pitt 45. So it's third down and 1.
You can see it. And this is the one area of all their statistics over the course of the season that is the most troubling trend.
Quarterback sneak. I'll just move the pile and move the chains.
And why not? Get right behind your junior center, Trevor Darlane, your most veteran left guard there, and just got to find a skinny, small space. That is a feel. That QB draw is, or QB sneak is 100% feel. You got to feel the D lineman, the alignment's there. You got to feel and sense that initial push. Got to get your pads down, as Rozier does, more than willing as a runner.
Swing pass again. Christopher Herndon, the tight end, down the sideline. Finally run out. Simple pitch and catch to the void of that Pitt defense. And Herndon takes it inside the 25.
And that was Njoku a season ago that helped get himself drafted in the first round. And Herndon's helping himself. An invite to the Senior Bowl this week. Big physical senior, one of those guys that has been through it, been through so many of the heartbreaks and the close losses over the years. Difference maker, and that's now 3 bubble screens, and the patience on this drive, emblematic of their season. They will not flinch.
Rozier, long throw towards the pylon, broken up. He was looking for Mike Harley, and Dane Jackson was there in coverage. Second down and 10.
So what do? You take your little crumbs, as I like to say, and then eventually it can lead to that shot and that cookie down the field in the one-on-one matchup. There's a whole lot of grabbing and contact there from Dane Jackson. You can see Harley is like, hey, I've got to have a chance to come back and catch that football. He's got a case. And Mark Richt is saying the same. You got to give our receiver an opportunity to come back and get it. Harley, the smallest of those wide receivers, feisty, couldn't get back to the ball.
Ninth play of the drive, and Rozier will throw. This time he's going to the other sideline. Reaching for the pylon is Richards. He's in. That's a Miami touchdown. Great body control by Amon Richards. And the Canes have the lead. Malik Rozier now 11 touchdown passes on the road this season.
And as that left foot stay in between, clearly extends and breaks the threshold of the goal line. That call on the field is critical. Called a touchdown on the field.
Can you see any green grass between his foot and the sideline? Or can you definitively, undisputably say that he stepped on the sideline? As you said, the precedent set on the field, tough to overturn.
Yeah, I don't think you can overturn that. I don't see any of the green grass in between the black spikes and the white out of bounds, but I also don't clearly see that cleat coming out of bounds. How about the body control for Amon Richards as well?
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
By the way, well done, replay booth. That's now 2 occasions where they have been definitive. Likewise, they have not messed around with the pace and tempo of this game, and I know the veteran coaches appreciate that.
How about that drive by Malik Rozier? 5 of 6 for 66 yards through the air. He ran for 14 yards as well, so he basically by himself took them 80 yards down the field.
He's a winner. I mean, he is just clearly has that confidence and just grit to him. I love watching him play. He doesn't flinch. I think his background in baseball helps to a degree, and there was no doubt.
By visiting several schools in the Overtown and Coconut Grove neighborhoods, and he was able to purchase those turkeys through his foundation, Young Men of Tomorrow. Chad Thomas, one of his teammates out there with him, he said how special it was to be able to give back to the neighborhoods they grew up in.
That's so awesome. We talked about the sense of community and what this has done, the success on the field and paying it off the field, even as college players. Awesome.
Quadri Henderson, he's got another gear across the 30-yard line. Good field position for Pitt. Let's answer our Aflac trivia question. The last FBS head coach to lead his undergraduate alma mater to a national championship. The key undergraduate, that's Phil Fulmer at Tennessee back in 1998. The reason we throw undergraduate in there, a graduate degree for Urban Meyer with the Buckeyes.
Mark going to get his shot to do it. They can continue to finish strong.
An undefeated season so far at his alma mater. Pickett wide open, popping up in the air, losing the football. Chris Clark into the secondary, and Miami's got it again. Jaquan Johnson, no one's worn the chain more this year than Jaquan Johnson, about to put it on for the 6th time. Oh, he gave the football up. Sheldrick Redwine knocked the ball out. And Jaquan Johnson, he wants the chain to go on Sheldrick Redwine.
Well, he knows.
And it does.
You know what, Coach Rodriguez could say it's the guy that ends up with the ball, but there is no doubt Jaquan knows it. That was all set up by Redwine. Redwine has been an animal in this first half. He knocks down the would-be touchdown earlier. He's been tackles in space, and his face up, and his helmet, and his face mask right on the football. And this is a case study in how you take the ball away. Over the second half of the season, nobody been better.
So now the Canes started midfield again. Rozier to Berrios. And they cross the 50.
You know, Coach Narduzzi said he was going to study this tape and tell me all about it today, and I saw him on the sidelines. And Coach Narduzzi said, yeah, 27 takeaways, and this team flies around. Now, some of the interceptions have been bad decisions, and he's taken his own notes right there. He was going to remind his team that many of them in those takeaways and giveaways were the variety of the offense just being careless with it. But not in that case. That was all Sheldrick Redwine with just a textbook tackle in the pursuit to go get the ball.
Now a tackle for loss. It'll be 3rd down and 8. DJ Dallas wrapped up by Amir Watts. Well, the last time the Pitt defense was in this Exact situation. Miami got a takeaway near midfield. And Pittsburgh's defense forced a 3 and out and got the football back. They're going to try to do it again. Flags down. Is this a substitution penalty against Pitt?
Illegal substitution. Defense. 12 players in the formation. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
The first penalty, and it is a big one. Now 3rd down and 8 becomes 3rd down and 3.
Yeah, and there's 12 guys on the field. I mean, there's just no doubt about it here as you're going to walk through. I mean, these are just the self-inflicted mistakes. Can't have them. Pre-snap ones kill you. The drops, been moments there. The missed shot down the field. Coach Narduzzi knows it. When you're playing the number 2 team in the country, I could beat them that way.
Blitz off the edge. It's picked up. Right to that spot. Rozier throws it behind Berrios. Braxton Berrios was wide open, running to the sideline, and Malik Rozier missed him.
Yeah, everything you want to have right there. I mean, absolutely everything. You're throwing right into that blitz. You're getting what you want. You have all the field right there to the sidelines to put it on. That's the one spot. Berrios going to make a play. Anything in front of him, below him, above him, he's going to make a play. But the one he can't is he's zooming full speed out of that cut is behind him. And that's the only spot that Rozier misses.
So Feagles will try and pin Pitt deep. Short kick, a shank to the sideline. And it goes out of bounds over the Pitt coaching staff, and they're waving those officials up the sideline. They're going to get terrific field position across their own 30. A 13-yard punt. Miami still with the 7-3 lead. Opportunity. It goes back in the humidor. But great job again by the Pitt defense to get a 3 and out. Screen. Audrey Henderson for 8 yards.
You know what, in much the same way, and as I've talked about those bubble screens on the other side, that's the one area where Miami is going to commit to stopping the run. They're going to put their numbers inside that box as well, and they're going to say, we're going to stop the inside run, and if you want to throw that little flare route, we're going to trust the team speed, our safety coming down, our corner getting off that block outside to win. It's been positive plays for Pitt on the perimeter.
Henderson goes backwards, and it'll be 3rd down and 7. Michael Pinckney with a terrific read, cut down Henderson.
After the last Pitt turnover, coach is just really trying to make sure the offense stays on track and in the right place mentally. They gathered the entire offense together, told them execute, finish, do your job, and take care of the football. That was repeated several times before they were reminded that last play, it's over. You've got to move on.
Well, that last play, Olesen is trying to block Pinckney, to your point, and Pinckney wins. I mean, football is the ultimate team game that comes down to one-on-one battles of guys doing their job. Right now, Pitt has not won enough for those offensively.
Kenny Pickett with a blitz coming once again. Gets out of the pocket. Fights his way for a 1st down. How about that from the true freshman? Runs through the tackle of Malik Young.
And that's that 1-2 play I talked about earlier, the hustle points in basketball. I mean, that is Malik Young coming up and taking on a quarterback, and his buddy Shaq Quarterman as well. That's a true freshman that's running through it. That's a running back that ran through Chad Thomas earlier. And that is Shaq Quarterman, the middle linebacker that cannot corral Pickett. He puts a head of steam into the 180-pound corner, runs through him.
Well, Pickett in his high school career threw for 43 touchdowns, but ran for 17 more. Dual threat quarterback. And here he is again, this time diving forward. He'd be lucky to get a yard. Collapses under Trent Harris.
Yeah, and Quarterman. And that time, Quarterman says, no, thank you. I'm going to come downhill. Enough of that nonsense. Freshman All-American a season ago. Started every game in the middle. There's no doubt that he is the young alpha male of that front seven that, you know, what paid their dues last year as freshmen. Really had to learn how to fight through adversity and to do it for 4 quarters. And you may get him one time, but much like the rest of the team, he is going to respond and did so on that first down run.
Another screen. Weah near midfield. So Jester Weah brought down by Zach McLeod. It's another 3rd down for Pitt. 3rd and a short 4.
And as this game has been shortened, this is an awfully big 3rd down. Miami deferred. They will get the ball to begin the second half. If you find a way, if you're Pitt here, to convert this 3rd down, you can own the ball the rest of this half.
And they are in no hurry with all 3 timeouts and 2 minutes on the clock. Can Pitt keep the drive alive? 3rd down and a long 3 close to 4. Pickett rifles one up the seam to Weah. $22 yards.
And that is the skinny post that he missed early on the very first possession. You see a little drawing out there, and check it out. This is a single safety. This is man-to-man coverage, and the young quarterback knows exactly what window he's going to throw it into. And that time he throws it with some conviction. He uses his head and eyes to keep that safety there, knowing exactly where he's going to throw the ball. He puts it on the money.
Pat Narduzzi calls a timeout here from the sideline. 2 left for Pitt. 1:42 to go in the half. And Manny Diaz not pleased. Moments away from Kevin Nagandi and Booger McFarland with the Capital One halftime report. Some of the things they'll be covering. Baylor was giving a tussle to TCU. It is Armageddon in the state of Alabama, as the Iron Bowl could be a playoff game. All that and more coming up at halftime. Play action for Pickett on the slant, throws it behind Weah, but he reaches back and makes the catch for a 1st down. Michael Jackson there in coverage again. Still 2 timeouts for Pitt and a lifetime on the clock, as they are in the red zone, but they're going with tempo. Pickett sees the rush and just bulls his way forward and gets inside the 15. Avoids a sack and picks up a few yards. And another timeout looks like will be called by Narduzzi from the sideline.
I don't know if I call that timeout.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't want to leave any time on this clock.
Yeah, they're right
Miami
now
on the other side. Yeah.
managing the clock like there's 30 seconds to go in the half, not 1:18. So 1:18 on the clock. Pitt now down to 1 timeout remaining. But 2nd down inside the 15-yard line. They really don't need to be in a hurry. In fact, they put a couple of ticks back up on the clock and make it 1:20. Well, Taco Bell is a proud partner of the College Football Playoff. Be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these at games all season long, all the way through the postseason as well. It's the best time of the year in college football.
Yeah, there's going to be some rabbit houses over the next couple days, and Manny Diaz is going to continue to remind his guys. He loved the 2 takeaways and the effort they've gotten on those, but there have been too many of these tackles that have been following forward. Be it a running back, a slot receiver, a quarterback on a couple different occasions. One little indicator of just kind of that will in that want to knock those guys backwards. And Pickett responding 4 for 4 on this drive. The freshman that you can just see. I don't think there was any doubt in that building we were in yesterday. First of all, there was no doubt that he was going to start when we watched the game tape. He's the guy that makes a difference for him. And number 2, there was no doubt in that building yesterday that Kenny Pickett would be overwhelmed by this moment, that he wouldn't be confident that he couldn't execute. He's played a good half.
How much of the conversation during that timeout is play calling? Maybe trying to develop, a play calling sequence here, but also clock management, letting him know 1:20 on the clock. You still have a timeout. No need to rush. Although there seemed to be an unnecessary sense of urgency from the Pitt sideline calling that last time.
A little bit of all of that, and I'm sure take care of the football.
Keep the chain in the box. Pickett looking for the end zone. Incomplete. Flag out. Intended for Jester Weah. And Jackson I'm not sure if he's injured or feeling guilty. And it looks like he might be shaken up.
Holding, defense, number 28. The foul is against an eligible receiver. The ball crashed the line of scrimmage. Be half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
And we saw it earlier on the other side. A lot of contact with Dane Jackson. Thought penalty could have been called. This is a very similar case. There is a grab there early that ref feels impedes the route. In my estimation, if you didn't call it on the other side on Dane Jackson, I think this has been a well-called game outside of that. You're letting these guys play, and they should. You know, we've seen it with the replay booth that I think has nailed it on a couple occasions here. Let this game move. Let these players decide it. Just want those calls to be consistent. If you're a fan, if you're a coach, if you're a player.
D. Delaney in for Michael Jackson. Pickett on first down. Floats one to the back pylon. Incomplete. Over the head of Ferrujo Lopes with Sheldrick Redwine tracking him in the back of the end zone.
You've got to run the ball here. I mean, you've just got to find a way. There's so many times that we see this in that clock management over the course of this year, as we're all going to watch college football this weekend. And the ability to manage these situations. Miami's got all 3 timeouts. You throw a touchdown with 1:10, everything's available to them in their 2-minute drill. You have got to utilize, in my opinion, some of the clock and run the ball here.
Olesen the lone setback. And they'll give him a chance here. Now, if you're Miami, will you call a timeout? Miami has all 3 timeouts. That's going to roll the clock. And I would think Mark Richt might want to save some time for his offense. But he's going to let the clock wind down. And now Pitt is lining up to play with tempo. They still have a timeout left. Big play here, 3rd and goal. Pickett out of the pocket. He's going to try and run for it. The freshman is at the goal line. He's in. That's a Pitt touchdown.
That is a no-doubter there, and add that to the list. That's been about a half dozen in this first half. A half dozen just want-to plays. Who wants it a little bit more in the first 30 minutes? Those want-to plays that favored the Panthers.
Pitt back on top by a field goal.
An 11-play, 68-yard drive, and you just see some of the juice that this freshman creates. When you sacrifice your body and you're running through tackles, you get defenders to come over to you. Those offensive linemen love it. And this is a case where you're going to see a Miami stunt really hurt themselves. Right? When you are playing against a quarterback, it's actually here, and you're going to create an enormous chasm with this stunt. And I think this is on Jaquan Johnson in center field. He's got to see this play out. And you see that stunt and that movement, and look at the lane that is created here in a quarterback that takes advantage. And that's one-on-one. And in that one-on-one situation, who's going to want it a little bit more? And right now, the young freshman,
he's having fun.
He is having fun, and he can feel it.
And what gets lost and shouldn't in all of this, the real hero in the first half right now for Pittsburgh, their defense. Because Pitt has seen that turnover chain come out twice for Miami. Both times, UM takes over near midfield. Both times, a 3-and-out.
Yep.
So the Pitt defense is the biggest reason why it's a 10-7 score. Jeff Thomas, he can fly. Great return and a flag thrown. We'll have to check the penalty marker. Miami still has 2 timeouts in 26 seconds. It looks like 2 flags have been thrown on opposite sides of the field. Thomas may have been hit a little bit late out of bounds.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 live ball, 1 dead ball. During the return, holding, number 14 on the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the kicking team. 15 yards, be a first down.
So after all of
Number
that,
97 on the kicking team, unnecessary roughness, 97.
we'll have to see where they put the football, but the PK80 Invitational rolls on. It's Phil Knight's 80th birthday, and when you're Phil Knight, you get some good college basketball teams together. The semifinals today on ESPN roll on at 3:30 Eastern. Carolina takes on Arkansas, and then Duke, Texas at 5:30. The PK80 Invitational semifinals on ESPN as well as on the ESPN app.
Well, it's a former boxer turned kicker, Alex Kessman, the redshirt freshman who makes contact in the white. We've seen a lot of firsts this year. David Edwards, a quarterback turn right tackle at Wisconsin. All right, we've got a wide receiver turn left tackle in Brian O'Neill, and I've not in many bios read a kicker that was a former boxer.
Also the kicker with a late hit out of bounds. Well, that actually gives Miami a little bit of life after they end up assessing both penalties. The Canes at their own 34-yard line, still with their timeouts in 26 seconds. So they'll be aggressive here as Rozier, under pressure, avoids a sack, scrambles forward. And let's see if they spend a timeout or just end the half and not put the ball in harm's way. And down to 15 seconds. This might just take us to halftime.
Yeah, I think Mark's been here before. Been here and done that many times, Mark Richt. He's got a crew that is going to show tremendous response and resolve to this, but he's going to have a crew to talk to at halftime. This other team you're playing in blue, they outplayed you in that first half. They wanted it a little bit more. They made the plays to finish. And if you're going to get this done on the road, you have got to make those plays if you're Miami.
Miami will start the third quarter with the football, and they will be down by 3 when that happens. Let's go down to Allison.
Coach Richt, your defense gives up that touchdown at the end of the half. What's your biggest takeaway from their performance so far?
Whose performance?
The defenses.
I think they're playing well. We got a couple turnovers. We're not scoring points off the turnovers. We got to do a better job, obviously, offensively, throwing and catching. But they're a good football team. We're going to keep battling.
Thank you.
Down by a field goal, number 2 in the country at halftime when we return. Kevin Nagandi and Booger. Welcome back to ABC's College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. 30 minutes, maybe more to go here at Heinz Field, and we will find out whether the second-ranked Canes can get the job done. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams just about set for the start of the third quarter. Here we are again with Miami. I guess playing down to the level of their competition to a certain extent. Big favorite and struggling down by 3.
Yeah, this is no surprise. I know it's probably very irritating and frustrating for the Miami fan at home, but this has been a little bit of what they have been this year on the road. 2 of the 3 on the road have been one-possession games, and Mark Richt not happy going into halftime. Not happy because his defense took it away twice. He didn't do anything with it. Not happy because that passing game is not near as effective and efficient as it should be in that first half.
A moment ago, Allison Williams caught up Pat Narduzzi.
What was your message about finishing it in these final 30 minutes?
Well, you know, it happened in West Virginia where we knocked off number 2. It happened in South Carolina, and it's happening in Pittsburgh today.
Thank you.
All right, then. Well, there is a message to be delivered at halftime to your team that 10 years ago, almost to the weekend, that was a West Virginia team with Pat White at quarterback that was 1 win away from playing for it all, and in the backyard brawl, it pulled off the upset. Last year, of course, their win against Clemson couldn't derail the Tigers. Travis Homer starting off the second half with a yard.
Yeah, this is about effort and want to from a Pitt defense right now. It's playing some new pieces, playing some redshirt freshmen, and the Miami run game at 1.9 yards a carry in that first half. And Malik, the leading rusher, could not get anything going on the ground with any consistency.
Screen out in front of Berrios, and now it will be 3rd down and 9. Jordan Whitehead was tracking Berrios. right out of the locker room at halftime. That Pitt sideline senses a chance for another momentum-changing stop. Four-man rush. Screen set up. And somehow it finds its way through to Homer. He's short of the first down. But Avonte Maddox, well, he had a chance to house it if he held onto the football.
That was a phenomenal play by Avonte, the senior. And one of the lone seniors, it's a big contributor. He sees it happen, everything in front of him. He's trying to go where the ball is. And that could have been a pick six. Instead, he misses it by mere inches. But again, the effort and the want to in the pursuit of the Panthers create the 3 and out.
And let's see what kind of field position that Pitt ends up with. Zach Fiegels has been up and down punting the football. And this is another wobbly one. This will take a slight Miami hop to only the 37-yard line of Pitt. Time to look at our Pacific Life game summary. And Brock in the first half missed opportunities for Miami's offense after the chain came out twice.
Yeah, Miami got 2. One of them, well, Pitt gave to him on the fumbled snap. The other was a tremendous hit from Sheldrick Redwine and his high school teammate. Jaquan Johnson eventually the beneficiary of that turnover chain. So they're +2 in that column. But it really was the play of Kenny Pickett. Not looking like a freshman at all, controlling and commanding the entire playbook, effective running it, and at the touchdown before half to give him the lead.
Darren Hall on first down. Squeezes out 3 yards. Chad Thomas brings him down. What I love watching about Miami this season, though, they play comfortably in games like this, NFL football.
Yep.
Right? They have a belief that chain is going to come back out. They have a belief that if it's 3rd down and 7 with 8 minutes to go in the 4th quarter of a 1-possession game, they're just going to make a play. They don't panic. And it'll be very interesting to see as this second half moves on if Pitt can overcome that. This play blown dead at the line, and a flag drops out.
False start. Snap infraction, number 67 offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And that's the redshirt freshman Jimmy Morrissey, the botch snap earlier leading to the fumble, and that time just trying to get out. Right? Anytime a center has that kind of movements, because he's going to be moving on the play and trying to pull, snap and pull and get out in front of it, and he could not. But you're right, and it's a grit and a toughness, I think a mental toughness from Miami that most importantly is built on experience. It's not built early in the season on just practice time or messaging. It is built on having been there and done it over the course of the season.
Pickett slant through the hands of Weah. It will be 3rd down and 12. How rare is it, though, to see that in a college team? You're out in Seattle with the Seahawks. There's a team that's always in a 1-possession game, it seems. So you see NFL teams embrace that. That's the world they live in on Sundays. Not often for college.
Well, I think it is twofold. I think it's the head coach first and foremost. I mean, Mark Richt has got as much composure as anybody we see on a sideline. And number 2, it's a bunch of freshmen that are now turned into sophomores and sophomores into juniors that went through a lot of those close battles and lost them a year ago.
4-man rush on 3rd down. Well short of the sticks. The completion is there to Arujo Lopes. Well, that's just a field position play as Trajan Bandy and Sheldrick Redwine sandwiched Arujo Lopes. Not a bad decision, though, from a true freshman quarterback to not force it on 3rd down and 12.
Yeah, but that's also some of that mindset that Miami does create in these second halves. And you saw it with Virginia a week ago. I'm going to check it down instead of being aggressive. Yeah, smart play if you can pay it off with a good punt here.
And Ryan Winslow with a wobbly kick. Barrios on the dead run is able on a fair catch to dive and save his team some field position, but well, that was a risk. Only a 32-yard punt. It's a rivalry weekend, and tomorrow ESPN with a pair of top 4 college football playoff teams. They want to avoid upsets at 3:45 Eastern. Oklahoma Contains West Virginia. And then at 7:30, Clemson and South Carolina. A cross-state rivalry with college football playoff implications. Both games are on ESPN as well as on the ESPN app.
And Clemson group and that defensive line has got to bring it on the road. So dominant at home, feeding off that home crowd. They're going to have to do it at South Carolina.
Back to work the Miami offense. Play action for Rozier. Looking for the home run ball to Amon Richards. He had him and just overthrew him.
And that's going to frustrate Mark Richt. You know, he went into halftime, chatted with Allison. He was frustrated. He wasn't frustrated with his defense. He got the 2 takeaways. These are the throws that frustrate him because he knows in these moments and in these games, that's your 6'2" wide receiver on a 5'8" corner, and he is behind him. Wide receiver does everything right. You were taught there to get on top of the corner. He gives Malik the entire field to throw to. And that's now 3 or 4 from Malik that he's got to find a way to hit.
Low on the slant. Incomplete for Mike Harley. So only 85 yards passing so far for Malik Rozier. He is now 9 of 18, and it's 3rd down and 10. Canes are 2 for 7 on 3rd down. Play clock under 10. Four-man rush. Rozier up in the pocket. It starts to collapse. He gets away. Gets to the sideline. He's got a 1st down.
Gosh, and isn't that so him in some ways? I mean, isn't that those first 2 plays? He misses a 1st down shot. Second one, he won hops. Okay, so Pitt that time, in a rare move, plays a little what they call 2-man. You could see the backs of those DBs turn, and Malik knows it now. He's got to make them miss in the pocket. And this is just what he has done all season long. Through some ugly play, through a little bit of adversity, like this team, they just respond. And what an enormous 3rd and long conversion, all through the legs of number 12.
Rozier up in the pocket again, and this time he'll go down. Lost a yard, so that'll be a sack. Good rush from Patrick Jones, helped out by Mike Herndon.
Yeah, this D-line and this front 4 is playing above anything they have done over the course of this season. It is a group just 7.5 sacks as an entire group coming into the game. And as long as that 4-man rush impacts the pocket and the passer, advantage Pitt.
Homer stood up and driven back. May have gained a 1.5 yards. Sean Idowu came to Pitt as a walk-on because he wanted to play football at a Power 5 school, and he led the charge.
Now look at that. Look at those numbers. So you watch this game through the first quarter, 2 quarters, and into this half, you would think it is Pitt's defense in their front that has impacted opponents so much. That has not been the case, but feeding off of the energy of this place in this matchup.
3rd down and 9. Play clock down to 1. Did Miami get the snap off? Was a timeout called? They will call the timeout from the sideline.
Miami, first timeout of the 2nd half. Media timeout.
So they avoid a delay of game before 3rd and 9, but the Canes spend a valuable 2nd half timeout. Graphics department wearing the iCrew chain. Now, if you're at ESPN college football, all the crews separated, categorized by letter. We are the iCrew. The I chain has been adopted. 3rd down and 9.
You're going to see zone coverage. I don't think you're going to see man. They're going to bluff this blitz, and they're going to make Rozier throw a pinpoint pass into zone coverage in 3rd and 9.
4-man rush. Rozier high over the middle. Incomplete. What a great play. Running the middle of the field, Dennis Briggs, as Berrios was the intended receiver.
And that was nearly the pass there, but a better effort from the captain. You can see the C on the shoulder pads. Been demoted at times, not starting. He comes in on nickel defense. He does not care. He will do whatever is asked of him, and that time what was asked was a tremendous play to extend that arm and knock down the 3rd and 9 pass.
Briggs last season forced a fumble on Saquon Barkley in the Penn State game right here in this building, and that was one of the most important plays in that game. 6th punt for Zach Fiegels, and again comes off his foot sideways. It'll take a Miami hop, scooped up. Quadri Henderson, good return and good field position for Pitt. Let's see where they say he stepped out. Actually inside the 30-yard line at the 29, and a late flag was thrown as well after the play was over.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 35, Pittsburgh. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. That is number 30. That is his first unsportsmanlike conduct of the game. Number 35.
So a costly 15 yards for Pitt. They were about to start at about their own 29-yard line.
Well, Pat Narduzzi said Allison, the only time he looked like a freshman in that first half was the opening series, and get exactly what you want, a little skinny post here, and this was just a nervous throw. He was high and behind, and they come right back on the touchdown drive, and I love this from a veteran offensive coordinator. Come back to it. Kenny's confident throwing it, and you could see the conviction with the throw right into the window. The exact same play. It is flipped around, and that a big part of the touchdown drive that has given Pitt this lead. And you said it to me during the break after that, Bob, and we watched this on tape yesterday. It's conviction, right? You see, in unfortunately for Ben DiNucci, who had the spot ahead of him in the previous 5 starts, just not that kind of conviction. And here comes a true freshman playing with nothing to lose. As you see a Miami defender, and that is Chad Thomas. That is the starting defensive end. One of the real vocal leaders for Miami walking off. I love the courage and the conviction out of the true freshman.
He's replaced by Trent Harris, who's got 8 sacks this season of his own. Pick it off play action, easily into the flat. Darren Hall is able to get close to the 20-yard line. Zach McLeod came up to make the stop, gain of 4.5.
And if nothing else, just field position. That penalty sets you back. You have got to just be thinking first downs here. Just get out of that end zone. You don't ever want to look at that back end zone when you're on offense here. You want to set yourself up here, and if at a very minimum, just find a way to tilt the field position on this drive.
Pickett pulls it down. And boy, he fought for about a yard. He took Shaquille Quarterman for a piggyback ride. He is strong at 220 pounds. He is tough to bring down.
You expect anything less from a New Jersey kid?
It's a loaded question. From Ocean Township. His dad played at Shippensburg. He was a top 25 New Jersey prospect. We had him at ESPN as the 21st best player coming out of the Garden State. And now the true freshman, Kenny Pickett, in the gun on 3rd down and 4. Only a 3-man rush, so he's well protected. Feels the pressure, tucks it under to the sideline. Reaches the ball out. Let's see where they spot it. And he will come up short. It will be at least a yard or 2 shy of the line to gain.
Sure is a lot of want to out of number 8, whether it was carrying Quarterman on the previous or this time a collision with another true freshman, the nickelback Trajan Bandy there, who is the worst for that. Better team pursuit. I think in these opening series for Miami, I see a little bit more energy, a little more juice. I think that's portrayed by the number of Hurricanes getting around the football, and that is a big 3 and out for their defense.
Good kick from Ryan Winslow. And Barrios with a fair catch back at his own 24. That's a 52-yard punt with no return, so that is a change of field position for Pitt. Roy got a hand up and knocked it down.
You're going to see the inside seam he's going to, and there is a huge window. Windows of opportunity against this Pitt defense. But you better hit them or they close. Rozier just 1 for his last 7 in 2 yards.
Miami has outscored in the second half their opponents under Mark Richt by 235 points. And they're going to run it here with DJ Dallas.
Players, coaches I've talked to from Miami say how there is no panic with this team, and I think you're seeing it here today. Despite the struggles, especially on the offensive side of the ball, I haven't seen any frustration from any of the guys. They've remained really calm and really just kind of business-like here on the Miami sideline.
Well, ask Florida State, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, North Carolina, all teams that lost by 1 score to Miami. Ask Virginia, that had 2 14-point leads. If Miami panics, they do not. But it's 3rd and 7 again. Blitz off the edge. Rozier, he goes down. Rashad Weaver brought down Rozier. Idowu forced him up in the pocket on the blitz.
That was just bungled from the very beginning here. That is a totally free rusher. That's just a 4-man rush. That is no line that has lost a little bit of sense of communication right there. You've either got to fan out to that rusher or you've got to pop out with somebody. You never leave an edge rusher totally unblocked like that.
8 Miami possessions. This is the 7th punt. Quadri Henderson makes the first man miss, breaks a tackle. And now he's out to the 35-yard line before he's bottled up after a 41-yard punt. Well, by coming from behind by 2 touchdowns twice last week, Miami moved up to number 2 in this week's college football playoff rankings, brought to you by Capital One. Flip-flopping spots with Clemson. Of course, next week's ACC championship game, Brock, feels like a pseudo quarterfinal game, but it carries far different implications for Miami if they don't find a way to win this game.
And look at all those top teams out on the road this weekend.
Pickett on a slant. That one's knocked out. So it's 2nd down and 10 now for Pitt. Anthony Moten knocked it down at the line.
A couple surprising numbers over the course of this game. Pitt with 2 sacks. And from their defensive line. And you're looking at the number 1 team in America when it comes to sacks per game, 3rd overall. Just not getting home. And some of that's Pickett and some of his awareness in that pocket and getting out. Some of it is Brian O'Neill, the left tackle, has done a nice job against Coach Kuligowski's group up front. But not near the amount of pressure and rush you're used to out of this front 4.
Play action, and the true freshman rolls out. And he'll tuck it under. Pick up a couple. Zach McLeod was there to bring him down. It makes for another big 3rd down.
And that's a rare little kind of missed decision there. As you see Chad Thomas back in, that's one of those play action passes we've seen often today. And Pickett's done a good job of bringing the rush to him. And he had the over route right in front of him, but instead he kind of rushed that one. Allowed that pursuit to bring him home and force the 3rd and long.
Miami shows blitz. Here they come. Pickett up the seam. Jester has got it. Almost breaks free.
Pickett took a shot there. You could see it. He is trying to get that pain. Sometimes that hand will numb. You get hit on the funny bone or right on your hand right there. But in the NFL, it comes right into the helmet there at Chad Thomas. In the NFL, they evaluate arm strength with 2 throws from quarterbacks. The deep out and that skinny post. Those are the 2 they want to see you back there. And when you've got pressure in your face, especially, the hand gets tangled in the face mask. Feels a lot better after a big completion than would an incomplete. But that is yet another bullet on that post route.
He's going to throw again to the sideline. just about squeezing out first down yardage is Aaron Matthews. He's a yard shy, so it will be 2nd down and 1.
You know what? In college defenses, Manny Diaz knows it. That's a good sign for Pitt that he comes right back ripping and throwing with that hand, but they know it. Like, okay, if I'm gonna give somewhere, I'm gonna play a what we call a single high defense, and you're gonna have to throw into this small window, this skinny post. And if you miss over the top, it's a pick. And he doesn't miss. 2 enormous, same concept, same route. It's that want to and the arm strength getting it done.
Olesen up the middle, 1st down and more. Quadri Olesen to the 15-yard line. Now here's a kid that was the ACC Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2015. Had an 1,100-yard season. He's a tailback that now plays fullback, according to Pat Narduzzi. So he's blocking for his buddies. That is our most unselfish player. That's what Coach Narduzzi told us. Said you just can't have enough kids like Quadri Olesen to sacrifice the way he has. Olesen to the 10-yard line. A touchdown would make it a 2-possession lead for Pitt as we close in on the 4th quarter. And we have another injured Hurricane. That's Malik Young, the corner.
You can see some of the struggles in that red zone over the course of the season. Not so at the end of the 1st half. And this is an awfully big possession here near in the 4th quarter.
Training staff working on the left shoulder of Malik Young. So that's another Miami starter, at least off the field for the time being, as Pitt is in the red zone. Bob Wischusen here with Brock Ewart. Allison Williams down on the field. And it's on the Miami defense once again to try and flip it as they trail by 3. 2nd down and 4 for Pitt at the 10-yard line. Olesen with a cutback. 1st down. 1st and goal, Pitt, close to the 3.
And this is just not the Pitt or the Miami D-line that I have watched this season, Bob. Whether it was in person against Syracuse, whether it's on the game tape over the last month against Notre Dame and a much more dominant offensive line, Virginia Tech, they're just not getting enough blocks. They're not winning. They're not reasserting the line of scrimmage that you're used to seeing them do so often at home here down the stretch. They're not winning at the most important spot, and that's in the trenches.
Olesen spins down to the 5, but he is tripped up by R.J. McIntosh. Tackle for loss for the number 4 tackle for loss defense in college football.
And R.J. must have heard me right there, or he heard Coach Kuligowski, because he gets skinny and he gets right into the backfield. Just have not seen enough of that. This is exactly what Virginia Tech did to Pitt down the stretch here last week. Those D linemen, they cross the line of scrimmage. They won. This is what RJ has done as well as anybody in college football, making everybody around him better. They needed that.
Hard for a 300-pound guy to get as skinny as he did, but you could see it perfectly from that angle. Shovel pass. Olesen at the goal line. Is he in? That's a Pitt touchdown.
So the previous snap, that upfield rush you're expecting, you don't get it this time. And instead you stare down Trent Harris right there. You freeze him, you freeze that in, you win inside. Big nose tackle there. Kendrick Norton could not get off his block. And then, as you documented earlier, the most unselfish player on this team puts his head down and runs through 3 Canes for the touchdown. Sometimes those are loaded questions when I ask a coach. I just want to hear it from their perspective, because I know at times who's the most physical. I don't know who the most unselfish is. I'm not around this program on a daily basis. And Coach Rick knows what he's up against now. His team has got to sharpen up. Pat Narduzzi did not hesitate. He pointed right to that guy.
Ruling on the field was a touchdown. Previous play is under review.
It looked like Olesen got across. Obviously a sea of bodies, so hard to see the football, but when a touchdown to make it a 2-possession lead against the #2 team in the college football playoff rankings is at stake, you absolutely go upstairs and allow replay just to make sure that he got the ball across the goal line before his knee was down. Now, in one shot there, all you could see was the ball. Another shot, you could kind of see his knee. The good news is, in the replay booth, they can sync these looks up and see when the knee went down, as opposed to when the ball crossed the goal line. And it's a pretty quick return of a decision. It is a touchdown. Pitt has a 10-point lead. And you may remember, coming out of the locker room just after halftime, the head coach of the Panthers, Pat Narduzzi, he spoke to Allison. I want to say he called this. Let's listen.
What was your message about finishing it in these final 30 minutes?
Well, you know, it happened in West Virginia where we knocked off #2. It happened in South Carolina, and it's happening in Pittsburgh today.
Thank you.
He's a fiery guy.
Well, I think what he feels there, I don't think that is any false bravado. I think what Pat felt in that first half, and he wanted to know from a talent standpoint, he knows, you know, the speed, strength numbers, NFL talent right now. He's got some young guys. He graduated a lot of seniors a year ago. It's been a rough season at 4-7. And he knew what he was up against, but what he felt in the first 30 minutes is my guys are outplaying them. They are playing harder. They are the ones showing the want to and the hustle, and that's not changed in these 15 minutes. And if Miami doesn't do something about it in the final 15, starting with their quarterback being more accurate down the field, this may be the first lead Miami's not been able, or first deficit and not been able to overcome this year.
Jeff Thomas from the 1. Flag down, and Thomas is down.
During the return, holding on the return team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Well, in 8 days, ABC will be the home of the Dr. Pepper ACC Championship between these Canes and #3 Clemson. What will their rankings of the college football playoff be when they go into the ACC Championship game? There's a spot in the college football playoff. Could be on the line. That's a week from tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, here on ABC, as well as live on the ESPN app. Miami has been here before, down 2 scores. Can they pull off another comeback? Play action for Malik Rozier to the sideline on time. Amon Richards got a first down and a gain of 14.
The touchdown drive was of the 80-yard variety, and it was patient. It was taking what was there, and you can see this season a whole lot of comebacks. Not looked at offensive ineptitude as they have had in the first 45 minutes here, but you have to continue to be patient. You cannot get it all back at once.
That ball tipped and came out wobbly as Richards never turned to help out Malik Rozier. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
I think that was a good thing it was tipped. They're trying to throw the little fade stop here, just trying to pick one-on-one on a matchup advantage for you. And that's Amon Richards, and he's trying to double move. And Malik's going to throw this behind him. But at no point did Avonte Maddox fall out of position. And a nice play. He made fun of Herndon's tackling earlier. That time he gets his hands up.
Converted offensive lineman. Did a good job. Here comes the blitz. Rozier to Berrios. Incomplete.
Ooh.
And lurking was Dane Jackson. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
And that is nearly 2 pick sixes going that way. The screen pass, Maddox saw the whole way. That time the overthrow versus the pressure. Suffice to say, one of the biggest 3rd downs of Miami's season.
Play clock down to 6. They didn't get the snap off, and this time they will not use a timeout.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
It's the 2nd time it's happened. They had to use a timeout a couple of possessions ago to avoid a delay of game on 3rd down, and Malik Rozier just didn't have that sense of urgency to get his team out of the huddle and set. It cost them 5 yards.
And that t-shirt is ripped underneath him. I think some of the confidence right now is a little bit ripped. And this is a time you cannot put the ball in harm's way.
Rozier over the middle. And it's caught right at the marker by Christopher Herndon. What a clutch throw by Malik Rozier on 3rd and 15.
This is a tight window. You can see the safety right over the top. He is driving to that spot. But a big-time throw in Christopher Herndon using that big-time frame. 6'4", 250 tight end, shielding that safety to create just the opportunity as he hobbles off the field as well.
That's an important piece off the field for UM.
What a 3rd and 15.
Tipped ball again at the line. It looked like Rashad Wheeler got that one. But back to that previous play, and I think to the point emblematic this year of Miami, Brock, you cannot rattle this quarterback and this team.
Nope, missed throw, near pick 6, just delay a game. Coach yells at me, I got it, and then I'm going to throw one of my best darts of the game.
Now they're 2 scores down. They have to come back and make that stand up. But if you had a team in America right now that you'd feel confident, as we said, it's not going to get rattled and can make this happen, it's probably Miami. Rozier, wobbly ball. Berrios through his hands. Hit by Jordan Whitehead. It's another 3rd down. Play clock goes under 10 again. Another blitz. Rozier out of the pocket. Brought down at the 40. And that might end the 3rd quarter. And if it does, we'll begin the 4th with yet another Miami punt. Amir Watts is having fun. Number 2 is on the ropes as we head to the 4th quarter after a message and a word from our ABC stations.
He went on to be the pick of the New Orleans Saints in the 1988 draft and spent 11 seasons in the NFL, including a Pro Bowl appearance in 1995. And his done with Detroit. Now they can bring it to her headline as she presents a commemorative game ball to his son. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Set for the start of the fourth quarter. Let's check our Pacific Life game summary through 3 quarters. And those 2 takeaways looming from the first half. Brock, missed opportunities for Miami.
And Miami becoming one-dimensional. Just 49 yards on the ground. That is all Rozier. He's got 33 of the 49. Just no balance. And you've got to find a way to get that when you're out on the road. And it has just fed this crowd that has just felt what's been going on here.
Wobbly kick that ends up bouncing to Henderson. And he is dragged down. A face masking call might be coming.
During the return, personal foul, face mask, number 20 on the kicking team, 15-yard penalty. It'll be first down.
It's backup safety Robert Knowles who picks up the personal foul.
3 penalties now in the special teams phase of it, and that is just a no-brainer.
So that brings the ball out to the Pitt 35-yard line. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewart, Allison Williams at Heinz Field here in the Steel City. Back to the offense, the true freshman Kenny Pickett. And he'll hand it to Darren Hall. R.J. McIntosh comes through, another tackle for loss.
3rd and 15, best throw for Rozier. Let's look at that 3rd and 10. What does Pitt do defensively? They're going to bring the pressure here. And you're not going to see Rozier throw into it, because if he does, I mean, look at this. This is Richards here. I mean, there is nobody here. You've got to find a way to throw into that pressure. If you throw into that pressure, that is Richards on the corner, one-on-one. 3rd and 15, throws an amazing seed right over the middle into a safety over the top and underneath coverage. And then you got to have the cool on 3rd down and 10 to read and diagnose that pressure.
Pickett to the sideline, incomplete. He had the tight end Chris Clark wide open, but missed him.
It's the 4th quarter. We're down 10, but we're fine. We can do this. That has been the message from Miami coaches here on the sideline, telling their guys, we've been down before, but you just have to keep pounding, and telling them, do not flinch. We haven't flinched all year. Don't flinch now. So Miami really calling on the experience of being in close games late right now.
Because they have been.
And have done well.
And this freshman hasn't. But you're facing on this side. He's not been in these environments like you have.
Third down and 12. Throw to the sideline is broken up. Trajan Bandy. He had a pick six against Notre Dame, and when he took it to the house, Manny Diaz's 86-year-old Cuban grandmother set off her house alarm because she jumped up and down so much.
He almost had another one.
He almost had another one.
That is a half step. And I'll tell you what else infuses confidence for Manny and Mark Richt is there plays to be made. Right? I mean, it's not as if we're looking at a Pitt group that has just been the nemesis and enemy. Many times it has been Miami themselves with penalties and missed opportunities.
Only 46 seconds came off the clock. Fair catch. Barrios inside the 20. Good punt. Again from the fifth-year senior Ryan Winslow. 48 yards. Morgantown with the Mountaineers a win away from playing for the national championship. So we have seen Pitt upset the apple cart before. Starting this drive inside their own 20-yard line. Miami needing 2 scores here in the fourth quarter. Travis Homer brought down by Salim Brightwell.
Yeah, that's now the 10th carry for running backs. 10th carry for 17 yards. I mean, it's not going to get it done on the road. And I bet if you went back and looked at those Pitt stats in these upsets, much the same way, you've got to win and control the line of scrimmage, especially if you're going to go out on the road, as Miami has here, and they've just had no execution in the run game.
Blitz picked up. Rozier to the sideline. And that is good for a first down. Dayall Harris hauls it in. Good throw from Malik Rozier, 14 yards.
Miami is without their tight end, Christopher Herndon. He is done for the game with a knee injury. They put a brace on that left knee, and he tried to walk but could not really put any pressure on it. So he's got ice on that knee and remains on the sideline.
That's a Mackey semifinalist out of the game. Here is a shot, and that's another deep ball. Unable to connect with Amon Richards is Rozier. It'll be second down and 10.
And that is one you've just got to put the air on it. Okay, Rozier can hit this, and he has hit this season. And when you've got a matchup advantage, he is on top of a 5'9" corner with one arm. Vontae Maddox is out there playing on a dislocated elbow with one arm, and you've got your 6'2" freshman All-American. You've just got to put air on that ball and give him an opportunity.
Screen to Barrios, out in front, inaccurate a bit again from Rozier, and now it's third down and 10.
Boy, 12 of 29 for Rozier, and if he's going to turn it around, it's in this frame where they've done it. Good anybody in this final 15 minutes is anybody in all of college football.
Rozier has missed on 10 of his last 13 attempts. Third down and 10. Again, he's looking for the deep ball. Overthrown again, intended for Jeff Thomas.
And he knows it. I mean, he just knows it. It's one of these days as a pitcher, you just don't have command. Mark Richt knows it too. He was a former passer himself, and just right now those plays are there. That is another post with the entirety. Your margin for error is the entire middle of the field, and it's thrown to the wrong shoulder.
Another wobbly punt, 9th of the day for Feagles, and it takes a sideways hop out of bounds on the Pitt sideline at their own 36-yard line. A 31-yard punt that time for Feagles.
The #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with...
Not only there, but in a little package we showed you earlier in the game. Dedicated members of our crew. We can't thank them enough for making us look and sound passable the entire season. Bob Wischusen alongside Brock Ewert, Allison Williams down in the field. And that's a whole group that obviously away from friends and family on Thanksgiving to bring you today's game. And what a game it's been. Pitt back to the offense, protecting a 2-score lead. Pickett under pressure. Protects the football. Trent Harris got there first to help bring him down with Quarterman.
Oh, there's sack number 9. And one of the first sacks, the first sack for that Miami defense on a play action pass. And it's going to fall on their shoulders now. Now those interceptions that have been so close here in the second half, you've got to find a way to finish if you're Miami.
First sack of the day for the U. Olesen gets a little bit of the yardage back. It'll be 3rd down and long. Boy, if there was ever a time where Miami would need that turnover chain to make one more regular season appearance, it's at some point in the next 10 minutes or so.
And what are you doing with your freshman quarterback? What are you doing here if you're Sean Watson, the veteran coordinator? Are you calling a play here with a little bit of risk?
And speaking of the turnover chain, again, no player this year has worn it more than number 4. And Jaquan Johnson is down. So when you need a takeaway, that's about the last guy Miami wants to see leave the field. He's been the ACC Defensive Back of the Week the last 3 weeks in a row. It's the first time in Miami history that they have had a player honored as all-conference 3 straight weeks. And now on 3rd down and 10, Johnson's down.
Well, Mark Richt pointed to him on local radio this week as an All-American.
He's played like it.
Not just an all-conference performer, but setting the tone and really the ringleader of everything that they have done defensively. And you lose Herndon on the other side. The tight end, as Allison documented, is out for this game. It is good news to see him come off the field, at least on his own power, trying to walk that off. But to me, this comes down so much here, this 3rd and 10, to how much trust you put in the true freshman making his first start. Are you going to continue to play this thing conservative, to trust your home field environment? The special teams phase of this game, your defense that saved for one drive has been phenomenal. And if you're Pickett here, you have got to be so guarded with the football, because that is what just ignites this group defensively and as a team.
And no rush coming out of the huddle. They can take another 20 seconds or so off the play clock before having to snap the football on 3rd down and 10. Four-man rush. Pickett on a slant, well short of the line to gain. Sheldrick Redwine, sure tackle on Chris Clark. And here comes the Pitt punt group.
That's a smart play and a good decision. There's no need to force it there. It's a phenomenal tackle, as we have seen from Redwine all game long. This defense is doing their part. It is an offense that has got to find a way to move the chains and build some confidence. And a pitcher that's got to find his command.
Wobbly kick from Ryan Winslow. Berrios, returnable. And they set up the picket fence. He turns the corner. Couple of blocks. Berrios tiptoes the sideline. And they've got good field position at their own 42-yard line, Allison.
And here high-fiving Berrios on the sideline. Malik Rozier, their quarterback, with the headset on. Guys, I could not believe this. I was watching Evan Sheriff's backup warming up, and Mark Richt went over and said something to him. Then he went up to Rozier and said, I expect more of you. So Sheriff's continued to get warmed up, was going up and down the sideline here. The benches of the offensive guys trying to fire them up, saying, let's go. We're going to go out there and air it out. So they are going with their backup here with the game on the line in the 4th.
Wow, Brock, how about you take the undefeated starter out of the game? He has struggled. What do you think of this move?
For a guy that's thrown 5 passes the entire season, and none of them meaningful.
Evan Sheriffs, maybe with UM's season on the line, has that ball knocked down at the line. So not the best start. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, not the move I'm going to make, but I'm not making the money Mark Richt is. When a guy's undefeated and gotten you to this position, he's got to find a way to pitch his way out of it. Now, having said that, I understand where Mark's coming from. We've got 6, 7, 8 throws today. And he's even tried to create throws to give his quarterback the most margin for error. It's not happened.
Sheriffs, incomplete. That one was underthrown a bit. Elijah Zeiss back in zone coverage, knocks it down. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
And he has him. He has him. That is that seam route. You've just got to throw it right over that linebacker. He does his part to look that safety off. We've seen the freshman on the other side. You've got what you want. You got to hit it.
Well, you wonder what everyone sitting in their living rooms down in South Florida right now is saying, all the U fans, about the button that was pushed by Mark Richt to switch quarterbacks with 10 minutes to go. Play action on 3rd down. Sheriffs under pressure. Down he goes. Avonte Maddox on the blitz. Does Rozier take the headset right back off? Is that a 1-series experiment? They need 2 scores with 9.5 minutes left.
And good on Josh Conklin, the D coordinator, and Pat Narduzzi, who worked together simpatico, and there was no doubt what was going to happen. The leading sacker playing with one arm was going to come home. Avonte Maddox, his 3rd sack on the season. They're going to bring the heat on the new guy.
Feagles, this might be his best punt of the day. Hang time all the way back inside the 10-yard line to Quadri Henderson. Zach Feagles changes field position as well as he has at any point today with a 51-yarder. The longest active win spot in the college football playoff might be on the line. 9 minutes to go. And Miami still down by 2 scores. Mark Richt just made a quarterback change that you think might be a 1-series experiment. We'll see if Malik Rozier goes back in. If and when Miami gets the ball back, how much time can Pitt take off the clock? They'll start with Quadri Olison. He finds a lane. Olison to the secondary. Breaks a tackle. Stays in bounds and picks up a 1st down.
That's one of the differences today. Miami has become a one-dimensional unit. Everything has been on their quarterback in their passing game. And Pitt has at least been able to find some balance, some semblance of a run game to keep that defense honest. And I've got to see Rozier. I get it if you want to make him watch for a series. It seems a little bit late in the game to do that. But to me, he is the guy that has gotten you to this point. You've got to give him a chance to finish it.
Was that the right time for a wake-up call in the 4th quarter of a 2-possession game to throw a series away?
Never a right time.
Let's see if that's what it was the next time they've got the ball. How long will it take them to get it back? Olison picks up a yard.
But you're also 12 of 30. And I think critical here is Mark Richt knows what it is like to play that position. He knows it, and he's had conversations throughout this game with Malik. What do you feel good about? What do you want to get to here? I'm trying to get you into rhythm and make you feel comfortable, and they are daring us to take these shots. Right, they're crowding the line of scrimmage and stuffing our run. I'm going to give you every opportunity. Throw go routes to Amon, throw post routes to Jeff Thomas. And he had finally seen enough. But as for me, I've got to get him back in the game.
Kenny Pickett, run pass option. And he'll hold on to the football, maybe a yard, as Zach McLeod brings him down. And that's another 40 seconds that comes off the clock for Pitt. 3rd down and 9.
Miami already burned the 1 timeout in this 2nd half. This has to be run. If you're Pat Narduzzi, I just do not take the risk. I continue. The time is more important to me as my defense has stuffed Miami.
And has to be a stop for Miami, right? I mean, to get another 1st down here, 2 more minutes plus off the clock, needing 2 scores. 3rd down and 9. They're going to throw it. Kenny Pickett on a roll to the sideline, tipped ball, and it finds its way to Quadri Henderson. Trajan Bandy had a chance to take out the turnover chain. This went right through his hands.
Yeah, now these Miami fans are getting nervous because those are the plays and those are the moments, and you can see the backside down. Backside is down, he's in bounds. Bandy had one earlier, a little hitch route. that he was just a half step, a fraction late to get out in front of for a pick six. And he's saying it right there, that is right to you. Those are the plays we have made for 10 weeks. Those are the plays where the chain has come out on that sideline and ignited this team. And through your hands, going the other way.
Olesen. Close to midfield. At what point, not yet, but at what point is Miami thinking about using those final 2 timeouts to try and save some time for their offense?
Yeah, that's not until you get under 4.5 minutes. So that means you're leaning on your group here to get off the field defensively.
Well, Pitt can take the clock down under 4.5 minutes on this series of downs. And if they get a first down, even deeper than that. Darren Hall, first down, and then some. The #1 takeaway defense in college football is desperate for one here. Coming up on 5 minutes to go. Olesen, 3.5 more yards.
And just falling forward. Instead of being hit and stalemate at the line, they are just falling forward. And that's been some of the theme here for the 60 minutes in this run game. 123 hard-earned yards for Pat Narduzzi's crew. Just 47 on the ground for Mark Ricks, and most of that Rozier scrambling. It's been a line of scrimmage game where Pitt has done enough, and it's been a lack of playmaking from the U on the perimeter.
Second down, Walton.
Coming up on 4.5 minutes off the clock on this drive. Another handoff to Quadri Olesen. Turns the corner. He's got another Pitt first down. And now those timeouts may have to be used by Miami, needing 2 scores. Olesen again. Inside the 25, and it looks like now timeout number 2 will be called by the Canes from the sideline. .352 to go here in Pittsburgh. We step aside. 3 first downs made on this final drive for Pitt that have taken Brock a ton of time off the clock.
Right through the hands of the true freshman right there. Again, a little bit indicative of a team that has made those plays, especially when it's mattered this season. And the defense that I see just running out of gas. It's been on the field for 33 minutes of this game. They just watched their head coach make a QB change, put the backup quarterback in, and a Pitt team that is trying to do what Miami's done all year and finish.
Olesen stopped. Another timeout called by Mark Richt. That is his last, with 3:47 to go. You think Pitt's having any fun? This is during the last timeout while we were away.
This is their bowl game. They missed their bowl by 1 yard a week ago down Virginia Tech. Sitting there at 4-6, played their guts out. At first and goal at the 1 yard line. I mean, as gut-wrenching a loss as you could have to not be able to finish it. This was going to be their bowl game. And you know what? It was also, as Pat Narduzzi said this week, a measuring stick game for our young guys that we've had to play a lot of this year, that he's watched get better and better and better in a freshman quarterback. How do we stack up against the #2 team in America?
And a big hello to the fans in Madison, Wisconsin, or Auburn, Alabama, or down in Athens. All of these teams that are lurking outside the top 4, looking for a chance to get into the college football playoff top 4. And right now, Miami on the ropes.
And I promise you a conversation for Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney And Paul Chris to his team to say to every one of them, when you go on the road and you don't play your game and you don't bring your game and your focus and your attention to detail on the road, you can lose. And case in point, what all of those teams are sitting here doing today and watching this one.
Well, it is a rivalry weekend, and tomorrow ESPN will have a pair of top 4 college football playoff teams looking to avoid an upset, like it looks as if Miami is about to suffer. 3:45 Eastern. Tomorrow it'll be Oklahoma taking on West Virginia, and then number 3 Clemson, who last year survived a loss to Pitt. They'll take on the cross-state rivals, number 24 South Carolina. Both games on ESPN, as well as the ESPN app. 3rd down and 8. Olesen. Submarines down to about the 21-yard line, and now Pitt can take a full 40 more seconds off the clock. Miami is out of timeouts.
And I'll tell you this, Mark Richt made it very clear this week. A short week for them, short week for both teams, but said, hey, if we play as sloppy as we did against Virginia, where we bust 3 or 4 coverages, where we get holding calls, where we're just sloppy throughout, we take that game on the road, we're going to be in trouble. They played 6 of their last 7 at home. They've been able to overcome a lot of those mistakes at home with the energy and the juice of that South Florida fan base that's been getting it going. But a different case, and Pat Narduzzi knows it. You're playing on the road.
They're going to run up, and they're going to run a play on 4th down. Well, Pat Narduzzi does the smart thing and calls timeout, allowing as much time to come off the clock as possible. So with 3:03 to go, we'll see what Pitt does after the timeout. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams. Now let me ask you this question. It certainly looks like Miami is about to go down. Does that mean they're out? Last year, Clemson lost to Pitt at home.
Yeah.
Found a way to get all the way through, made it to the playoff, and we all know what happened. Let's say Miami beats Clemson next week in the ACC championship game. Could you not make the argument that with one loss they should still be a top 4 team?
Obviously, Clemson's was earlier in the season. I mean, when you're coming down the stretch here and you kind of put this performance out there for the committee and everybody to look at, but this is a 3-dimensional chess piece right now. If you're asking me to say that and all of a sudden they give, I got to know what Auburn does.
No, I
got to know what Ohio State does.
Right
I got to know
now,
what Notre
I want
Dame
you
and
to
everybody
predict
else.
every outcome of all the games that are still left in college football, and then tell me what's going to happen.
I can guarantee you this. Mark Richt in this presser, if this doesn't go the right way in the final 3 minutes, it's going to be very clear. We didn't play our game. I mean, what do you want me to say? We didn't play our game. We didn't bring our game here. We didn't outplay them physically and emotionally, and we certainly didn't execute in the attention to detail like they're capable of doing.
Bypassing a field goal, and it's a bootleg for Pickett. The true freshman heading to the end zone. At the pylon. Touchdown.
Touchdown.
Last week, 4 cracks at it at the 1-yard line at Lane Stadium. And I think the fans, second-guessing play calling, were wondering, well, maybe a bootleg for the quarterback last week would have been the way to go. Well, they pull it out this week. Works to perfection.
$12 plays, 90 yards, 6 minutes, 10 seconds. Best drive of the entire season for Pitt when they needed it the most. And you're right, we had that conversation with Pat Narduzzi yesterday. We walked through all 4 of those plays. I showed them to you in the film room, and we walked through all of them. And there was a lot of chatter of, hey, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Your true freshman quarterback pulled the ball out on the 4th down, and could he have walked in and kept it? On the 2nd down run, you know, as he gets older, is he going to have the opportunity to do it? There's no doubt this was called. This was not a feel thing. This is a call thing from Narduzzi. And how good does that feel for him, for his offensive staff? Football has a funny way of doing that, doesn't it? The week before, you can't find a way to finish from the 1-yard line. 4th and 6, you call the one play that everybody was clamoring for, and Pickett gets it done. 11 runs on that 12-play drive, the only pass through the hands of the true freshman Bandy.
Well, Malik Rozier now has the helmet back on. It looks like he's coming back in, but now it's too little too late. Down 3 scores with under 3 minutes to go and no timeouts. Jeff Thomas. He needs to rip off a big one. That's a good return. Out to the 34-yard line. Tonight, Sports Center after Virginia Tech, Virginia. The day before the Iron Bowl, Marty Smith one-on-one with Nick Saban. Also a look back at what may be the greatest Ohio State-Michigan game of them all. The Cavs going for 7 in a row. What's changed for LeBron and his team? Sports Center tonight, 11 Eastern on ESPN, as well as streaming live, always on the ESPN app.
Well, Mark Richt will be asked about it an awful lot at 17-7, why he made the QB change. Pretty confident he's going to say, because I gave Malik every opportunity to dig himself out of it, and we just couldn't get anything going. Little did he think that he wouldn't get the ball back till 6.5 minutes later.
Rozier, underthrown ball, flag out. Avonte Maddox dueling with Amon Richards. I guess my question would be, making that move?
Pass interference. Defense. Number 14. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Does that move send a message of panic to a team that at no point this year has ever panicked when they've been in this kind of a situation?
I think that is a very fair question. It's another challenge when Evan hasn't played much this year. 2 of 5. I mean, it's not as if the backup's got some run and you feel good about, like in this case with Pickett, you know, who's taken the role from a redshirt sophomore.
Barrios to the 40-yard line. That's a first down. Any first down is your friend in college football, as now the clock starts again. Rozier, he's got Barrios wide open to the end zone. Touchdown. That didn't take long. Still 2 minutes and 16 seconds on the clock, and now it's a 2-score game again.
That was a beautiful concept. That's a little sprint out you're trying to run, and the corner route that you've sold, that's the natural route to that kind of protection and movement. And instead you break that corner off to the post, and for the first time you put it right in the middle of the field and let the senior run under it.
Well, at least Miami now has a reason to line up for an onside kick. Down by 2 scores with 2:16 to go.
And Mark is saying, I tried to give you a bunch of these opportunities earlier, Malik, with Jeff and others. Maybe created a little bit of movement here, but you can see selling the corner route right there. That is the natural route. That is why you see Jordan Whitehead bite so hard on that corner, and he comes back to the post and nobody home.
Jazzy Stocker, I think that was in the middle of the field. Is that not a safety's responsibility? Up by 3 scores, no timeouts for the opposition, deeper than the deepest.
Both safeties.
It took 38 seconds for Miami to get in the end zone and make it a 2-score game again.
It's going to be hard tape to watch. All right, if you don't get this onside kick here, it's going to be hard tape to watch because there were so many of those opportunities over the course of the game. First series, Jeff Thomas is on a little seam post route just like that. If you just throw it to the middle of the field and let him go get it, plenty of those chances, they hit it late.
The hands team all up near midfield for Pitt. Miami needs a couple of onside kicks to pull off any kind of a miracle comeback. Here's Michael Badgley to try one here. It takes the hop they need to the sideline. Does it stay in bounds? Did Miami save it? They did. The Canes have an onside kick recovery by Malik Young.
Badgley gets the perfect hop. This is what you're looking for. Put the pressure on that player right there to try to catch it. That's Jordan Whitehead again, and is this recovered in bounds?
Well, they're going to go to replay as it was ruled a recovery for the U on the field.
That is a good hard bounce. Malik has got to cover that ball without being out of bounds. First, that initial contact cannot be out of bounds. Got to be in the field of play.
Logic states that it was almost impossible for him to stay in bounds. Looks like he's recovering it right on the sideline. But have you seen a replay yet that would tell you that it's indisputable and you can overturn the ruling on the field?
Not yet.
This probably would have been the best look that you could get, but there's a bunch of players in the way. Well, a very difficult call for the replay booth to overturn, certainly.
You just can't assume.
Is this Miami football? And if it is, this can't happen, can it? Could you come from 3 scores down with no timeouts in the final 3 minutes?
Do you watch the end of the Georgia Tech game? Florida State game? I mean, some of those moments seemed impossible. This one outdistanced those by an awful long ways.
And for Pitt to run that bootleg that Kenny Pickett scored a touchdown on rather than kicking a field goal, which was their option, obviously, on that 4th down play. How large does that decision now loom, considering the score? Here's the call.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Please put the clock with 2 minutes 13, 2:13 on the clock.
Yeah, that's the right call.
Miami ball, 1st and 10.
There was just nothing visually you could do in that replay booth, and a tremendous kick from Badgley put in enough steam on that ball. Whitehead unable to handle it, and Mark Richt knows clock stops after 1st downs.
And now you need a touchdown and a field goal. Going for the touchdown first sometimes eats too much time up. You wonder if Miami has it in their minds just to get into field goal range first. Here's Rozier. That's caught by Michael Irvin, and he gets out of bounds. Obviously, you need 2 scores, but how much time are you thinking as a quarterback, as a play caller? I have to leave myself at least this many seconds on the clock to have a chance to get that second
40
score.
40 to 45 in college football.
Okay. Rozier. He's looking deep for Richards. Gets tied up. No flag out. Incomplete. Avonte Maddox fighting off that elbow injury again in coverage. And now Richards is hurt.
A lot of hand fighting there, but I don't think it impedes the opportunity there for Richards to go and get it. But those are the throws you needed to make. Those are at least the opportunities for Richards, who has been banged up this entire season, has fought through hamstring injuries. To at least give my guys a chance. And I'm sure that's what the receivers have said. So I'm like, just give me a chance, man. Just put that ball in the air and at least give me the opportunity to fight through some of that contact for you.
That's your second leading receiver. That's trying to shake off an injury, and you need him badly in these last minute and 53 seconds if you have a chance to pull off the miracle. You're already without Christopher Herndon. So that leaves Braxton Berrios. And a lot of inexperience at wide receiver outside of Berrios.
And we've seen Herndon go down, as Allison reported, ice on the knee. He's not been back. Jaquan Johnson went down. He did come back. You're now looking at Richards. And remember, you've got the ACC championship game in 8 days. They're not thinking about that now. They're thinking about finding a way to create another shot down the field. And for Pat Narduzzi, you better had a pretty clear conversation with your safeties and everybody else to keep the ball in front of you. The way you give enough time and enough opportunity for yet another onside kick, and to make this even more compelling and interesting, is if you let that corner post behind you, you let the speedster like Jeff Thomas get on top and by you, you have to stay deeper than the deepest.
2 years ago, Michael Badgley kicked a 57-yarder. You can see the line to gain for the field goal about the 35-yard line would put him inside his range in the neighborhood of 52 or 53 yards. Rozier. The ball stripped out. It's loose. Who's got it? It looks like Dwayne Hendricks for Pitt. And that will end the Canes' undefeated season.
And does Pitt play it safe? Nope. Going to bring a corner blitz. Devontae Maddox with his second sack, that one causing the fumble. That ball looks out before his arm is going forward. I don't think there's any doubt about it. The senior, the feistiest, toughest Pitt Panther, playing with one arm. He can't even reach his right arm out. You can see it. He can't even extend that right arm that was hyperextended just 3 weeks ago.
Dislocated.
Coach loves it. He knows it. I'm going to put this game on my senior right here. I'm going to put this game on who I trust. I'm not going to play it conservative. I'm not going to drop everybody back in coverage. I'm sensing a win. I can feel a win, and I'm going to go for it.
Victory formation for Pitt with 1:45 to go. And now Miami will have to mentally rehabilitate themselves. Head towards the ACC championship game. Now their college football playoff hopes are over. But they may not be. And that, I would think, would have to be the message from Mark Richt coming out of this loss. It's not over yet.
That last play was the most telling illustration to me of playing not to lose, of just being, of not playing not to lose, of just being fearless. I'm just not going to give in. Not to Mark Richt and this Miami team that's done it so many times this year and gotten off the mat. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to play conventional and play it safe. I'm going to bring a corner blitz to get home and end this game.
And how about Kenny Pickett? The touchdown run on 4th down to make it a 3-score game. The true freshman, not bad for your first start.
Nope.
To beat number 2.
They believed he had something in the spring when he enrolled early. They kept looking at him, and man, he just keeps impressing, just like this kid has, Rozier, all season long. And for Pat Narduzzi, what a finish. What a finish to the year. A measuring stick game. Where's your program? Where are you at? It's number 2 in America. You were pretty darn good this afternoon.
Miami goes down. And college football again, sometimes where you least expect it, gives you drama as we head towards the college football playoff. Let's go down to Allison.
Coach Narduzzi, you told me at the half Pitt had done it before and you would do it again. How did you pull off this upset?
You know what? We've been close all year. We got an incredible football team.